Welcome to Spirit Check, your weekly dose of inspiration, hope, and insight on overcoming personal challenges, limiting beliefs, and living your best life. What's the matter? Do you remember the grief and despair you felt during a difficult time in the past? A situation so traumatic you knew your life would never be the same? Whatever is going on in your life right now, I'm sure Hagar knows how you feel. Early one morning, Abraham woke Hagar up from a deep sleep. Instead of a warm embrace, she was given a lunchbox and a bottle of water. Hagar couldn't believe what she was hearing. Abraham's first wife, Sarah, saw Ishmael as a threat to her son Isaac's inheritance, so she demanded they leave immediately. Abraham was deeply saddened, but was forced to make them leave. And just like that, Hagar's world was flipped upside down. Now she and her son were in the middle of the desert with no shelter, food, or water, dying of thirst. Dazed, confused, and literally at death's door, Hagar lays her son underneath a tree because she couldn't watch him die. Then she falls down a few feet away and begins sobbing and crying uncontrollably. How can this be? One minute they're in the presence of royalty with a bright future ahead of them, and moments later they find themselves abandoned in the desert and left to die. Genesis 21:17 through 19 reveals God's undeniable compassion, comfort, care, and presence to those of us who feel lost, hopeless, abandoned, forgotten, and alone. But God heard the boy's voice, and the angel of God called out to Hagar from heaven and said, Hagar, what's the matter? Don't be afraid and don't worry. Sight is a function of the eyes, but vision is a function of the heart. Dr. Miles Monroe. Wait, what kind of question is that? Hagar and her son are stranded in the desert without shelter, food, or water. What does God mean by asking her what's the matter? If you were in Hagar's shoes, wouldn't you be afraid of the dangerous and hopeless situation you and your son face too? The angel says, God has heard your son's voice. Go and comfort him. I'll make him a great nation. Suddenly, God drops the mic with an unimaginable plot twist. Moments before, Hagar's situation appeared bleak and impossible to overcome. This woman was forced to leave her home, her husband, and now her son is dying right in front of her. But God desired to expand Hagar's perspective on what appeared to be an impossible situation. Verse 19 says, what God did next changed this woman's life in an instant, and God opened her eyes. But to see what? That they were surrounded by death? In Ephesians 1 and 18, Paul also talks about having the eyes of our hearts enlightened, flooded with God's light, wisdom, and understanding. On the contrary, after God opened Hagar's eyes, she immediately saw a well nearby. She quickly filled her water bottle and gave her son a drink. Wow, how grateful and relieved Hagar must have felt to see that well full of water. The thing is, that well was always there, hidden in plain sight. God didn't make it appear out of nowhere. Hagar simply couldn't see it or the abundant resources at her disposal through the eyes of fear, doubt, and unbelief. When fear, doubt, and unbelief start to creep into your mind, don't panic. Instead, ask God to open your eyes to see things from a different perspective. Don't let anyone rent a space in your head unless they're a good tenant. What we learned, number one, remember, it's awareness that Hagar lacked, not access, ability, or even abundance. Number two, God desires to open the eyes of our hearts to his daily provision, protection, and presence at all times. Number 3, God wants to reveal solutions to your everyday problems. If you listen carefully, he's right there pointing to the well right in front of you, especially during difficult times. Like Hagar, we too have learned that God desires to equip us with heavenly eyes that can see his daily provision, protection, comfort, and care. Be sure to ask God where your well of hope is located today. He always offers us living water from his well that never runs dry. Let him revive your hopes and dreams for a brighter future. Join us next week on Spirit Check for more insights from the Bible about the importance of facing expectations and arriving at God's reality, aka seeing life through the Father's eyes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Charmaine with Spirit Check. God bless, and I'll see you next week.